What's up, everybody? Jensen Cummings here. Thank you for tuning in. Kendra, your name is Kendra Anderson, is a small sommelier. She's the owner of Cabana X at Bar Helix. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. My first job ever, 16 years old, waiting tables at none other than Denny's.
Oh,
Glamorous restaurant that we all know and love. But
got to start somewhere.
I loved it. I worked from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., saw all sorts of people, and I loved every second of it. And I loved the food. And the chef kind of took me under his wing and started showing me things. I had always been a passionate home cook, reading magazines, watching the Food Network, throwing dinner parties, just cooking my butt off. And I started to fall in love with this kind of coastal and Pan-American Latin cuisine, and I started picking up his techniques. And so I started to imagine maybe I could start doing instead of waiting tables on the side, kind of private event chefing. So I had some friends that were getting married, and they were saying, Kendra, why don't you do the food for them by bridal shower? Or I was throwing people's, holiday dinners. I was just throwing as many dinner parties and cooking as much as I could. And so not long after that, I sought out a culinary program that I could do at night. So I went to culinary school. I actually went here in Denver to Cook Street, here downtown, changed my whole life. I absolutely fell in love with it and thought, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's where I started to see what I really was passionate about, which was that marriage of food. And now I'll say beverage because for me, it's expanded. But at the time,
Who was that mentor before we move on?
Oh, her name's Betty Smith. She's still one of my best friends. She was on her way to becoming a master of wine. And I thought, this chick is so cool. She's cultured, she's traveled, and she's versed in this language that now we know is that language, which I really refer to as the lifestyle, right? It isn't about pretension or money or anything. It's about creating experiences, which for me is what happens when you pair the exactly right drink with the exact right food. People don't talk about wine. Regular people don't use the terminology that wine professionals do. And I don't think we should ask them to. I wanted people to see that wine could be fun, not boring or pretentious or only reserved for the people who look a certain way. With the wine pairings, I had soulmate pairings on the menu where we're encouraging people to experience not just food and not just beverages, but the marriage of them together so that would encourage them to continue to expand their own personal tasting journey, right? It's always been for me about not just what people did when they were in my presence, but what I did to inspire them to continue on when they long had left the bar. So that they would be so intrigued and so curious that they would want to leave and be like, I tried a Negroni, but she mentioned this variation where you use whiskey and it's a Boulevardier. I'll make one at home. That's my whole jam. It's never been about just come let me sell you things. It's always been, what do you want to learn? Where do you want to go? People don't have the ingredients we have in our homes, we have in our restaurants. You got to make it work for the person because that's what builds the habit, if you will. I've always talked a lot. I'm a very devoted yoga practitioner. And there's a phrase that you always hear in yoga where they say, how are you going to take this practice off the mat? What are you going to do when you leave the studio that's going to keep you still rooted in these values? And I feel that same way about food and drinks. So I want people to take the experience I gave them in the bar home with them and keep practicing. I wanted to get you so excited you couldn't wait to try another one like it or make one at home or take a class or go to the city where you read that drink was originated. I want you to get all in and just start getting as excited about it as I am.